Hi everyone and welcome to Spotlight. In studio today we've got Fuzz. Man, welcome to the studio, Fuzz.
How's it?
Cool. So Fuzz is a full-time recording, mixing and mastering engineer, and he's also a producer at Odyssey Records. So Fuzz, for the people that don't know you that well yet, how did you start out, and then tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, so I work at Odyssey Records, as you said, which is basically at the Atterbury Theatre. There's a studio next, as part of the theatre complex, there's a studio. We do a lot of live recordings in the theatre itself, and being in Pretoria, I work primarily in the Afrikaans industry, so work with a fair amount of big and small and somewhere in the middle names, I guess. And yeah, so that's who I am. That's where I work at the moment. That's what I do. I do mostly do recording, mixing, mastering, do a fair amount of live recordings. Produce a bit, not that much production, and we also at the studio now we've sort of started diversifying. We do subtitling. We're doing a lot of audio overdubs in foreign languages. I'm busy with a production where we're going to be overdubbing in Mandarin, doing subtitles in Mandarin. We've just finished a project in Lingala. We finished a project in Chichewa. We did a project in Amharic earlier on in the year. All voice overdub stuff. So not only music, but a fair amount of subtitling, overdubbing, a little bit of video editing on the side as well. Okay, so I'm predominantly an engineer. So I'm more of an engineer that produces than a producer that engineers. And I think in that sense, I'll always take it from an engineering side. I'm going to want to make sure that stuff is tracked properly and recorded properly, so that I've got something to mix afterwards. From a production point of view, I think it then comes down to what the song needs, what the album needs, where does it need to go. I think a lot of what production, or something that I've learned about production over the last couple of years, is that it's not all necessarily about what needs to happen musically, but how much money is there to make it happen? So guys potentially want the Earth and the Moon, but they only have enough money to pay for the Moon. So if you only have enough money for the Moon, how are we going to create the Earth as well? So and it's just about figuring out, where do you want to go? What is the song? Where do you want to go with the song? Can the song actually go there or not? I think a lot of guys have, they'll give you an idea. They'll say, okay, this is my song. Okay, what do you want to do with it? I'd like to take it there. I want the song to sound like that. But you're sitting with an 85 BPM sort of middle tempo song, and your reference is 120 BPM rock and roll. I can't get this to there. What you want to do with the song is incorrect for the song. So, and then to shape that and say, okay, do you want to think about that in that sense? Where do you want to go with it? Maybe do you want to take it in another direction? What of those elements can and can't be used? And what is the budget at the end of the day? I think a lot of guys don't necessarily think of the budget, but somebody's got to pay for everything. Do you want live musos on? Yes or no? Do you have budget to pay for the musos? And I think one of the things that I've learned about working, especially with this guy that I've worked with for the last couple of years, is his ability to look at the big picture from a budget point of view, from a production point of view, from a where do you want to go with it point of view. It's not just about creating the song, it's about getting the song out there. It's about putting it on an album back in the day. Now more, I guess, social networking, whatever the case is. So
sure, that's so inspirational. So Fuzz, you've mentioned tracking. So walk us through your studio setup and the gear that you can't live without.
Okay, so we have we've got a couple of setups running at the moment. We're a Pro Tools studio. I don't think Pro Tools is necessarily better or worse than anybody else, but I've been working on Pro Tools since day one, so it's what I'm familiar with. So we run a Pro Tools setup, one HD setup, a couple of native setups. We mostly Mac. Same reason, been working on Mac since the start, so I'm more familiar and more comfortable with it. From a preamp point of view, we've got a 500 series chassis that has at the moment 7 preamps in it, 3 BAE APIs, 2 Neve 1073s, 2 Magnum inward connection Magnums, which is a boutique pre. Then I've got 2 Chandler Germaniums. I've got also a boutique thing by the name of Shadow Hills Equinox, which has got 2 preamps in it. It's a summing box, so I can sum 30 channels out the box with that. And then it also has basic control room function, volume, mono, dim, all that kind of stuff. And then there's a TL audio as well, and a Joe Meek that we use for talkback. And yeah, so as far as mics are concerned, we've got a couple of 4-and-4s, a couple of Audio Technicas. I've got a Neumann U87, which we use quite a lot. Got a couple of Sennheiser MD421s, which are great dynamic mics. Use them for voiceovers, put them on toms, put them on guitar amps. What else? A couple of bits and pieces. Other than that, what can't I live without? Can't live without those 2 Neves. If I knew the Neves would be that great, when I got 2 of them, I would have got 10 of them. They really are fantastic sounding pre's. Yeah, the APIs are great as well. The Neumann is a very versatile mic. You can use it for a lot of stuff. It's not necessarily the best vocal mic, but you can put it on just about anything and get a really good result out of it. And then a whole whack of plugins like everybody else, software instruments, bits and pieces. And then I've got 2, it's called PSI Audio, which is a handmade Swiss speaker brand. So I've got a pair of those, and they are fantastic sounding speakers, very transparent, very flat response, and non-fatiguing. So it feels for me like I can work longer hours without getting fatigued compared to what I could before.
Yeah, of course. That's so awesome. Right, so for people coming into the music industry now at the moment, would you say that it's a sustainable career path to go into?
It has been for me. I've enjoyed the last 20 years in the industry. I think it's maybe more difficult now than what it was when I started. I was able to start, like I said earlier, a mate of mine phoned me up and said, "Hey man, we've got an opportunity in the studio. Are you keen?" I said yes, dropped everything, grabbed the opportunity. At the time that I started, there wasn't really a formal way of education in that sense. There wasn't an opportunity to, well, not in South Africa at any rate. There wasn't an opportunity to get a degree or a diploma. So it was old school. You went in, you learned from other people. You learned from the people that you worked with and worked for, and that you were paying you to do the mastering, and then I'm going to get whatever information I can. From a learning process. Now there's a lot of opportunities. There are a lot of colleges that are giving degrees and diplomas and what have you in different elements of music and sound and what have you. And I think it makes it there are a lot of people that are out there that want to get into the industry, and it means that the competition's maybe a little bit more. It's more difficult. You've got to work harder. You've got to know what you want. You've got to not give up too quickly. Yes.
So Fuzz, in your opinion, what does it take to become successful in the music industry?
Firstly, I think you need to be musical. Even from a sound point of view, from an engineering point of view, the most successful music engineers, guys who are engineering songs or music, or not necessarily voiceovers in that sense, but the guys who are successful in the music side of things are musical. From a live sound point of view, I trust musical engineers more than non-musical engineers. Is a non-musical engineer going to get a good drum sound? There are those that can. I think they possibly had to work harder at it to get to where they are. The musical people, it comes more naturally. So firstly, for me, it would be that you need to be musical. Secondly, you need to want it. You need to. I think in the previous question I said, you need to not give up. But it comes down to that. You need to not give up. You need to actually want it. You need to put in the time and the effort and energy to hone your skill. What do you need to do? What do you need to learn? Just because you walk out of a place like this with a diploma or a degree or whatever doesn't mean that you have all the skills. Yeah, there's a lot to learn that you're only going to learn by making the mistakes, and make the mistakes by all means. We all have them. We all have albums hidden away 10, 15 years ago that we hope nobody discovers.
That's it.
But if you don't learn from the mistake, then it's not going to go anywhere. So you need to be able to learn from the mistake. You need to be able to move forward. You need to be able to you need to be a nice guy, man. Nobody wants to work with a jackass. And I think in any industry nobody wants to work with a jackass, but somehow in the music industry I think people sometimes think it doesn't apply, and it does. Yeah, people work with nice people, the people that they enjoy working with. If they don't like working with the guys, that don't book them again. Yeah, so you need to be somebody that people want to work with, and don't pretend like you know everything, because you certainly don't. I learn all the time, man. I learned how to design a website the other day with software that I've never used before, because the previous software didn't exist anymore. So you've got to be able to evolve, you've got to be able to learn, you've got to be able to hone your skill. If there's new stuff out there on the market, figure it out, learn it. Otherwise you become an old horse that nobody can use, because you're stuck on a particular set of software or analog gear or whatever, and you're not prepared to move forward. You're going to get left behind. So.
Right, thank you so much for coming through today, Fuzz. Cool. It was so interesting hearing about your story and where you came from, and every day it's just one of those things where you have to learn more, you have to grind it out, and you have to put in the work to actually get there. So thank you for watching this week's episode of Spotlight. Catch us next week, and remember to download our brand new ebook in the description below. As always, thanks for watching.